Hello and welcome to day 14, part 1. We are going to dive right in and get going on Advent of Code again. So we've got our bitmask system. It's going to look something like this. That's going to be the first line of our input, which it has a 1 and a 0. And then we're going to try and save a value in memory. We're going to run it through the mask, and that's the final value that will be saved into memory. Okay, so we've got the value, which will be in binary. So we're going to take 11 and convert that to binary, and then we will overlay the mask over on top of the binary number, and then we end up with a different number here, which would be 73. Something that's interesting to note, though, I'm going to switch over to the brightness input, is that we end up with different masks, right? So the mask can change. We're not just going to have one mask. So we're going to have to be able to adapt the mask to be able to change over time, which is fun. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to copy this into our input here. And we're going to open up day 14. Okay, and then we're going to start building, right? So we've got our mask, we've got our memory, our data that's trying to be stored into a certain memory. So we know we're probably going to use a dictionary for that, right? And then the final output is the sum of all values left in memory after it completes. So we just take the value in the memory. The sum of all the values in memory. Okay, so let's start off here with part 1. Okay, I'm actually going to add a few lines here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sort of start from the end. Like, what do we want to have happen here is we want to be able to run something. We want to be able to run a particular part of the data. So we're going to have let's do part 1. We're going to have a mask is none. We're going to have memory. Memory is going to be a dictionary, right? We're going to save everything into dictionary. We'll be able to refer to the mask over that. And we're going to say for line in data, we're going to have op or operation, and argument is going to be line.split, and we're going to split on the equal sign that we see in the actual input, right? So we've got this space equals, so we're going to do that. I'm going to split on that. If operation is mask, or if the operation is mask, then mask equals our argument, right? And that's going to be our value here. That's what it's going to end up as. Okay. Otherwise, our memory position is going to be an integer, right? It's going to be we're going to parse this integer, and that's going to be our op, right? Our op, not including the first 4 characters and excluding the last character. So we're going to say operation 4 through -1. So we're going to essentially, depending on how long this could be, right now they're only 1 character long, but we might end up with really long memory allocation or memory locations that we need there. Okay, and then we're going to say if part, if, we're going to say memory for the memory position, right, is going to be a different function that we're going to call run mask. We're going to build a function for run mask that will take the integer of the argument as well as our actual mask here, right? So that we can essentially apply our integer argument with the mask and then return a new integer, a new value that gets stored into that memory position. And then at that point, we should be able to simply return the sum of the memory dot values. Okay. Now we just need to build run mask, right? Def run mask. So remember, what we're looking to do is we have this here, this value here, and this is going to take the value converted to decimal, and then it's going to overlay the ones and zeros from the mask up here. So our run mask is going to have some kind of number, or let's just call it a value, and it's going to have the actual mask. And we're going to say that the new value is going to equal an OR statement, mask.replace x with a 0. Okay, and this would need to also include that we're going to convert this to binary. So we're going to say any place that has a 0, we either want it to be a 0. We want a 0 to be included in that spot. Additionally, we want the value and equal int mask dot replace x with 1. So basically, if it's already a 1, we don't want to replace it with a 0, but any of the x's we want to replace with a 1 there, and essentially all of the values become 0 for the full length of the mask, but we want to make sure that we get rid of all of those ones, so we end up with zeros. So let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. Print value here, and we print the value there. Print value there, and then we return the value. Okay, and we're going to go through this in a couple of different steps. So okay, so we start off with let's make sure that we're not printing anything else here. Okay, so that should be the final answer right there. So we start off with an input here of 11, and then when we layer over the value, right? Oh, that should be 73. Oh, 75, yeah. So it turns into 75 when we layer over all the zeros. So all the zeros, and then we layer in all the ones, and that turns back into 73. So all the x's turn into zeros, and you do an OR operation on the zeros, and then you do an AND operation on all the x's and the zeros, and so you end up clearing out anything that is labeled as a 0 on here that isn't explicitly labeled as a 1 or a 0. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's run mask, and this should be the correct answer right there, is 165. Let's double check that. 165 is the correct answer. So let's go back to our input here, and we'll put that into our input.txt. We rerun this, and that is our output. Let's hope that that is correct. There you go. So that is 14, day 14, part 1. where we're storing values, converting them to binary, masking over with a different binary version, and then we convert it back from convert that value again back to base 10 rather than being in binary. And then we sum all the values left that we've stored in memory during the whole process. So there you go. If you have any questions, comments, throw those below the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this was helpful. Hopefully this was helpful. If anything else, I will then see you in the next video.